What's up, YouTube? Spider Lance today. Not preaching today, so it's Lance Lewis coming at you about the top 10 players of the last decade. And this come about this article that I read. And what caught my attention, I am a Kobe Bryant fan, and it says Kobe Bryant 4 titles, but he's not number one. I'm like, whoa, who's number one? But the person they had number one is understandable, but that's not the kicker. The person that they had as the number two player of this decade. Now their list, I don't even go through their whole list. I'm gonna try to just remember it. But number one, they had Tim Duncan. But number two, guess who they had? Kevin Garnett. Now I love the way Kevin KG. Well, I ain't gonna say I love. I think KG has a nice game. I think he's a beast. He's a monster. I mean, his PER probably being like the best, probably most of these players. I guess PER or whatever, but PER is overrated. That don't really mean too much to me because Kevin Garnett, in my opinion, I like his game, and I think somewhat the way I play basketball when I'm on the post, I kind of play kind of like him. But in my opinion, he's not as dominant as he should be on the scoring end. And you say, well, he's unselfish, but truthfully, if your unselfishness does not get you out of the first round, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and you don't get a desired result, it's insane to keep doing it. Well, anyway, he's not known for putting a team on his back and carrying his team. He's a great defensive player. He loves the game, put his heart and soul in the game. But to put him at number two above at least two people that have played and dominated in a decade is straight up disrespectful and shows that this writer just either has something about people that he really likes or something about people he really don't like. And I think there's one writer, KD, I think he really don't like Kobe anyway. But to put him above Kobe and Shaq is ridiculous. I like Kevin Garnett game, and I tell people all the time. I think one thing that a lot of people don't know, or at least I believe I know. I believe he could dominate close to the way Shaq did. He can get 13 rebounds. What about getting on rebounds, going up hard, and then dunking on people and get that baseline spin move dunk? He's so fast. He is so strong. But he's not that big bulk wise, but he is so strong. He should do more than he do. And he did win a championship, and he probably was the main cog in the Boston Celtics title. But that's arguable because Paul Pierce led the team in scoring. Paul Pierce was the MVP, and Paul Pierce did a good job on Kobe Bryant in that finals too. So to put him number two above somebody who has been to the championship 6 times in the last decade, you heard me? 6 times Kobe has been to the title in the last 10 decades. Okay, in the time that he didn't make it in the last 10 years of the decade, the times he didn't go and he didn't make it, he still dominated the game with sorry people on his team. So how can you put Kevin Garnett number two? Kobe got 4 titles. Went to the final 6 times. Something ain't computing right with that guy. I think it took him 6 years, 7 years after Shaq left to get another title, but still, he been in the title 6 times. They won what? If you go from 99-0-0, if you go from there, they won that year, they won the next, and they won the next. And then they didn't make it the next. They went the next, and they lost. And then they didn't make it. They didn't make it. They didn't make it. They didn't make it. Then he made it. And so if you count that, so he got 4 titles, been there 6 times. Shaq been in titles 5 times, got 4 titles. How can you put KG over those two people? And though Kevin Garnett had some wonderful season, the year he won an MVP was a great season. He dominated on the rebounding end, but I'm sorry, dominating on the rebounding end to me ain't as important as dominating in the clutch and on the scoring end also. in the clutch time, it's all about Kobe. In the clutch time, it's all about LeBron. In the clutch time, it's all about D Wade. In the clutch time for Boston, it's all about Paul Pierce. It ain't about KG. So when he was with the Timberwolves in clutch time, even though it should have been all about him, it wasn't about him. I mean, really, KG comparable. He was better than Chris Webber, but kind of comparable to Chris Webber in that regard. Though Webber had got his team farther than Kevin Garnett on a more consecutive basis. But don't get me wrong, we know that Kevin Garnett was more of a beast on the rebounding end and defensive end than C Webb. But C Webb, even though Kevin Garnett averaged 6 assists, C Webb is definitely a better passer than Kevin Garnett. But Kevin Garnett, he's a beast. He got a great mentality. The way he approached the game, you got to love it. But don't put him number 2 because of PER or whatever. Don't put him over champions. He being consistent. It's good to be consistent, but it's even better to be great. You know, even with my boy Tim, not necessarily my boy, but I like Tim Duncan game. He's consistent. He's consistent. He got 4 titles, so he's consistently great, but he's not consistently dominant. Shaq for 3 years was consistently a dominant player. Kobe for 3 years consistently a dominant player. And no. Kobe for 10 years consistently a dominant player. Shaq for 5 years in this decade, 6 years, consistently a dominant player. So Garnett, just consistent in being an efficient player. So you can't put him in number 2. You can kind of put Duncan number 1. I can see because he got 4 titles, but they never won back to back. And when they did go heads up with the Lakers and the Lakers beat them, it was Kobe going down, the whole dunking on him, dunking on. They even got on YouTube top 10 plays of Kobe dunking on Duncan. Somebody got that. He dunking on David Robinson. Usually, Kobe was the main reason why they beat the Spurs when it was Kobe and Shaq. I ain't saying that's why I was saying I ain't saying which one was better. I think in this decade you have to put Kobe and Shaq number 1, both number 1. I don't see how you could put either over, you know. But I can't see because, you know, like I said, Kobe dominated with a sorry team. Shaq is kind of waning out right now. But he's still a good player. He's still like top 4 centers in the league. So, you know, he's still good. But he's not at that level that he used to be because he's getting older. But Kobe, scarily, I think, off his offensive repertoire, not that he's getting more dominant, but he's getting better with his offensive repertoire that he has. That's kind of scary. He might start averaging more assists now, getting like 7.5 or 7 or 6.5 a game and getting 28, 20, anywhere from 26 to 28 points. With that team, he probably gonna end up with a whole bunch of more, 2 or 3 more titles before he retires. But anyway, so I just want to say, and after I get done with this, I'm going to list my top 10 of this decade. Because there were some other things that was said on there that was ridiculous. I'm sorry. I know everybody liked Jason Kidd, but he's not no top 10 player of the decade. He's a great passer. He gets rebound for a guard. But let me let y'all know something. Guard's not necessarily supposed to get a lot of rebounds. So when a guard does it, that's an extra. But that doesn't make him a better guard than another point guard. Did y'all hear that? That don't make him better than another point guard. So I'm gonna address that next. But top 10 NBA players in the last decade. Number 1, they put Duncan. Number 2, they put Garnett. That's definitely wrong. Number 3, they put Kobe. Then number 4, I believe they put Dirk. Number 5, I believe they put LeBron. Number 6, then they put Shaq. So, you know, it's crazy. They put Dirk over Shaq. Are you serious? There's some craziness. How these people get jobs, I don't know. I'm going to sign out. That's part 1. Part 2 is coming up.